Hi, I'm Samantha Duddleston, and I'm here with Monique to talk to you guys about The Crucible, which is a play written by Arthur Miller about the events of the Salem witch trials that took place in Massachusetts in 1962.
Yes, and a lot of these people were accused for the littlest of reasons that you and I both could easily presume as being irrational and not that at all unusual. The people accused, however, weren't lucky enough to have people like you and I to speak up for them at the time of their trials.
So, in The Crucible, Betty Parrish was accused because of how she would act out, right? Well, John Proctor was also accused because of how he'd plow on Sundays and his lack of attendance at church. And Mr. Corey was concerned because of his wife reading strange books. And the presence of puppets in her house was used against Elizabeth Proctor. Now, personally, I could sit here all day and still wonder the next day why any of these would mean that you're involved in witchcraft.
Except puppets. If you look up the definition, it literally says, quote, a small figure of a human being used in sorcery and witchcraft, unquote. The thing is just creepy.
Okay, yeah, but besides that, what kid at Betty's age, 10 years old may I include, doesn't occasionally act out? I know I did when I was that age, and personally, I think it's kind of normal. Also, in the Crucible, quote, Rebecca walks across the room to the bed. Gentleness exudes from her. Betty is quietly whimpering, eyes shut. Rebecca simply stands over the child, who gradually quiets. Unquote. I think that this says Rebecca Nurse, who was alive during this time, just simply thinks that Betty needs a mother's touch. But what's up with Proctor mowing on Sundays?
I know, right? It is definitely something that does not seem out of the ordinary. The guy is just plowing, and it's just another day. So what if it's on Sunday? So what if it's on Tuesday? I don't think that should really matter. But even Giles Corey says, quote, you'll find that other Christians do plow on Sunday, if the truth be known, unquote.
It's literally just mowing. And also, with John's lack of attendance at church, so what? The guy isn't religious. He's entitled to that. You hear all about atheists these days, and you don't hear about them getting accused of witchcraft.
I don't know. I don't think that not attending church on a regular basis necessarily qualifies a guy for witchcraft.
Right? And what about Mr. Giles Corey, who mentioned his wife reading strange books? Authors like R.L. Stein write really strange books about things like paranormality, and they are so popular, and they have been popular, and no one has ever really thought anything of that.
I get that, I do. But we also have to think of the era difference. How much more serious religion was taken back then considered today. You also have to think about what was going through the people's minds at the time of their trials. These people had to be paranoid.
True, I could see how they think Betty is possessed or something because of how she would fall into a deep sleep, pretend to be hurt, and make strange noises. Like, how could she just fall into a deep sleep like that unless something was possessing her too? If Betty claimed something was hurting her, yet there was nothing you could see there hurting her, then that would freak someone out. I know that because that would freak me out, and I'm sure that they believed her, whether you and I can say that is fake or not. With religion being the center of all things, why would someone not go to church? Everyone else did. So by doing that, you're kind of asking to be looked at as a black sheep, theoretically speaking. And also, Sundays are the days for Christians to rest. If you plowed on Sundays, then technically you weren't resting. And if you weren't resting, were you a Christian? And if you weren't a Christian, then what were you?
Exactly, right? What was hurting Betty that was so unseeable? What was wrong with this girl? What possessed John to even think of plowing on a Sunday? These were such unchristian like things to do, but apparently they both did them, along with other people. Like you said, if you weren't a Christian, then what were you? Not to mention Mr. Corey's wife reading strange books and then hiding them from him. What is the purpose of all that? What exactly is this woman trying to hide? A spell book, maybe? If she was being accused of being a witch, wouldn't she have a spell book? You just don't know.
And like we're saying about puppets too, those are actually known to be used for witchcraft, so that does make Elizabeth look a bit guilty to the people in Salem. All of these can make anyone look a bit guilty to the people in Salem during these times. I just think that this really shows how people's conclusions about you can be so effective.
I agree. I don't think these people realize that, and still today don't realize that. Even if Betty was just being a typical 10-year-old and John simply just wasn't all that much religious and didn't see any harm in plowing on a Sunday, or even if Mr. Corey's wife read some different books, they were all still accused of witchcraft because of the things that they did. Unfortunately, some of them have been killed just because of false conclusions.